Okay, guys, I am at McDonald's just getting a soda. I didn't get anything else. As I said this morning, I really wanted a Diet Coke, like bad. I was really in the soda mood. So I bought some things from home that I thought we would talk about them. First of all, these little packet is how the 20 meter of Christmas lights were shipped to me. I have 4 of these. So, you want me to find a way to open this up? And I will give you a quick critique on these little lights. These are the same ones that are on my tree. First of all, you can see how thin the wires are. You can see here the blob. This is the LED right here. Okay? So this little blob is the LED. And this thin wire right here is what goes around. The LEDs are wired in series. And this is the mains plug right here, which is the USB plug. And this plugs in to a power bank, whatever. These are warm white LEDs. In fact, if you look, you can see how they made these. Oh yeah, they did. That's what they did. Okay. In other words, they're not wired in series. Oh, interesting. Okay, so these actually are wired in parallel. Okay, so these little LEDs, and probably more than likely in the plug here, there's a dropping resistor that keeps these little lights lit. They are wired in parallel. They're not wired in series. It's kind of hard to see it. But I can see the little wires going to each leg. So, let me ask you the question that I would love to know. Is, can you cut these wires to size? And it looks like the answer is yes, because the end of the wire, which is right here, is not soldered together, okay? It's enameled copper wire, so it looks like you could wire these series. If you wanted to run a string longer, you could probably cut the plug off at the end here. But if there is a resistor in here, it might cause the plug to get extra hot if you were to do that. But some people will do it anyways because they figure they need a little extra length than 20 meters, and why not? Dang. The reason I chose to go with this kind of lighting instead of the more traditional Christmas lights, strings are sold often here in America, is the fact is that we use the LEDs are wired in series, okay? Series string. And the problem with series string is we don't have any kind of filtering by default in them. So the rectifiers and the lights don't really have filtering. They just don't. That's why they flicker so bad. Now, new LEDs, light strings are coming with the rectifiers. Next things I did was I went through and I started sorting out some of my magazines that I was gonna toss to the dumpster. And there's some legitimate mail here, which is mixed into at the same time. Card enclosed, do not dispose of. Now, which card is this one? Merrick Bank. Respond today, doubleyourline.com. First of all, honey, I'm trying to get rid of all my credit card debts, not trying to drag on more of them. Okay? This direct energy one Well, it's time to renew my contract. And so right now, because my contract has expired, the direct energy people have me on the Gen Standard rate. As required by Connecticut State Law, Direct Energy is providing notice that your fixed rate plan for electric generation service will Direct Energy will end on January 31st, 2024. The current generation rate is 0.09090 kilowatt hours if you choose another fixed rate plan in terms of 12 billing cycles, which means your generation rate will remain fixed until January 31st, 2025, and the rate will be 0.13990. Oh wait. Wait, first of all, is that a good thing or a bad thing? First of all, what is the other rate of the default rate? The utility service rate is 0.147115 cents a kilowatt hour. And they're saying is that I can offer you a rate of
just going to get a web page courtesy of the state.
0.139.
Going to be arrested, okay.
How you doing? I'm just doing a video for my YouTube channel. So...
I will explain that story.
Huh?
Quite vividly, I'm sure.
I can't really hear too well. So, I'm just going to explain this to my audience. So, I guess they're saying to me is, set up another contract, and we'll give you a penny off the generating rate.
Right.
But the problem with that is, does it make any sense to keep doing that? The answer is maybe. Maybe. But the thing is that a penny saved is a penny earned. Benjamin Franklin, when you came up with that statement, you were actually living in a place where a penny actually was worth a lot of money. Nowadays, typical penny ain't worth crap. Celine magazine, the art issue. This is one of the magazines that I keep getting in the mail, and it looks interesting. There's a lot of very interesting rates here, showing different kinds of art, reviews of different kind of art, photographic art. Some models here that are scantily clothed. Not too bad. Definitely not inappropriate for public view, but they definitely very interesting. A lot of these are photographs, but there are some paintings in here too. So, take a look at this later on. I think this will be interesting to look at. Then we have great gifts, great prices. 47 wineries to make a debut. This is Wine Speculator. Now, I don't know why someone was sending me Wine Speculator, because the fact is, I don't drink a ton of wine. I drink some, but not enough to make this thing like a major deal. The Lucid Air, designed in California, assembled in the United States, engineered for a better world. Basically, it's an all-electric EV. It looks like it's pretty Lucid Motors. 19-inch wheel, Grand Touring 425. This is the Lucid Air, the longest range electric car in the market. Something tells me the price of that thing is going to be a bit much for the average person to buy. TV Tech magazine. The value of vertical looking beyond social media. When staying connected is the only option. Mostly satellite. National Association of Broadcasters booth. Monitoring over-the-air broadcast is now as easy as Raspberry Pi. Showing a Raspberry Pi 4 or Raspberry Pi 3. Let's just say Pi 3 or 4, not the Raspberry Pi 5. But these Raspberry Pis are showing up everywhere in industry. It was designed originally as an educational computer for students to learn and get into the computing field at low cost. Power to cast, rocks, loaded memory case for audio video production. Hoy, yay. Something tells me that that's going to cost you a pretty penny. Like, look at this. Can you see this? It's like a whole editing desk in a gig case. Flat monitors on it. Those monitors replaceable. Heavy duty ATA construction includes two 27-inch or 4K monitors. Pull out drawer for control surfaces. Removable shelf for keyboard, mice, etc. 18 deep rack space mounts. 6 shallow rack space mounts, defibrillate mixers and things like that. Slide cover converts to a freestanding table. Oh, interesting. Gas shop support easy open flip lid. Heavy duty concerning wheels with brakes. Resist D-ring tie downs. I have only can guess how much this guy costs. And I say, I am green with envy. If I only had the space for that. But the thing is, a lot of these cases are not really designed for people that are legally blind, though. Laser focus world. World's most powerful X-ray laser sends its first light. NIR spectroscopy unravels mysteries of dementia, scaling high-energy laser weapons to 500 kilowatts. 500 kilowatts? Holy smokes. You would think the light's harmless until you realize that's what a laser can do. Lockheed Martin works to scale high-energy laser weapons to 500 kilowatts. That's pretty nuts. I really can't visualize running a laser at 500 kilowatts. Last magazine, Stone Plastic, is Real Truth. Israel versus Hamas, 4,000 years in the making. Exactly. It is that old of a story. 4,000 years between Israel and Hamas. So, the thing is that I find that the whole thing, the internet, and what's going on in the world is just strange. I thought about cutting one of the dance magazines. The problem is, I don't know what kind of things you're going to see a lot in dance magazine. I mean, besides obviously dancewear, garments, clothing, things like that, shoes. Yeah. Great idea, but the no reality is how likely is that going to be a thing? How likely are you going to see me walking around wearing a full Carmen Miranda dust look She keeps telling me she wants to see it. Well, unfortunately, no one sent me the headdress yet, so I never got one. And I'll have to start buying one. I'll have to find one somewhere, or one that's a decent looking one. Right now, my waistline is so awful. You want one of those too? Okay. So back to the little LED lights. What are we gonna do with these? I got 60 meters of these, and I'm only using one on the Christmas tree right now. I mean, there's a point where you can overdo it. Imagine if you take all 4 sets of them and throw on the Christmas tree at one time. That would be blindingly bright. Oh my God, yeah, it would be too much to handle all those lights. And then, of course, we got the ones that Wiggy and Kinade gave me, too. The light strips. I think the light strips would be interesting to see if I can use those, if I can figure out what to do with them. I was going to buy the strips and mount them. And raceways up on the tables or on the walls. And I didn't, because I didn't think I could successfully stand long enough to get the light strips up there. And you know what? You never know how long I'm going to be here. I mean, health-wise or housing-wise. We don't know what the future is. So, I mean, I can just see it. I buy the lights all of a sudden. After I put all the lights up, if I manage to do it without falling and hurting myself, all of a sudden, a couple months later, something horrible happens. Next thing you know, we find out we have to vacate. Then all that money went poof right out the window. Now, not exactly comfortable feeling. So, I digress. I don't know what we're going to do. I have no idea. And anyway, the whole idea is that these little lights, they're small, they're inexpensive, they're cheap, they're available on the market. You can do all kinds of neat things with them. They're conveniently easy to use. But the wire's really thin. It's like 28 gauge wire. It's really thin enamel wire, but for 5 volts DC, it's not going to kill it any. As long as the insulation doesn't get nicked off the wire, you'll be fine. And as you saw on my Christmas tree, they look pretty good. They're small, they're portable, they're quick, easy. Anyway, it's a little chilly outside right now. It's not bad. And I didn't want to sit outside drinking a soda at Cumbies. Like I said, I really just wanted a Diet Coke so bad. I just was like, oh, do I want to sit outside at Cumbies and the sun, which I need a vitamin D3 too. Then just sit there and shiver. I'm wearing a jacket anyway. It's not like you're going to see a lot of exposed skin. I was like, yeah. So where am I going to be? So let's talk about Yule Convocation and reality here. Ladies and gentlemen, with all due respect, I don't think you're going to see the Yule Convocation at the park. Not unless something major happens. Now, the convocation doesn't have to be a big shindig. It can be a simple thing. It's been a couple of times I've done a simple one. Like when I was at Patty's house. Basically just greeting you, talking about the year that's coming up, and stuff like that. So let me give you a quick hint what I think what's going to happen this year. We are in an El Nino pattern, a very strong El Nino. Okay? And the strong El Nino is resulting in a lot of warm air is coming up from the Pacific and going easterly. And it has a lot of dominance, and it's actually trying to keep the weather warm. At the same time, you got the southern conveyor, as we call it, that brings the moisture up from the south, which is also warm. The problem is, guess what? We're not going to see a lot of snow. Why? Because to have snow, you need to have cold air, and it's just not happening right now. There is a small cold front behind the existing system that's coming up here in the East Coast this weekend, but it's not going to be far enough east to result in us here in Connecticut seeing a lot of snow. If any, it might be just rain, as it's predicted. So you might say is, well, that means I guess your season's a wash. No, not necessarily, because first of all, my season starts on December 21st, 0 hours Universal Coordinated Time. Then ends around March 20th, 0 hours Universal Coordinated Time. Okay? So that means we have 3 months to try to get the cold temperatures in. Okay? And make the snow happen. But unless the system gets a lot more cold air coming in from the Canadian areas, it means that you're going to have a green Christmas this year. That's what it means. It means you're going to have a green Christmas. Something to think about. Well, anyway, I might get a refill in the soda, but in a little bit here. So what exactly is involved in Wiggles and Jiggles? We're going to talk about that. Getting out of the house for an hour, 2 hours, walking around a little bit. In this case, sorting all the junk mail that was sitting on the floor of the hallway that was mine that I kept tossing there. It was junk, and more junk. And then realizing, of course, it was legitimate mail too, and I have to consider renewing. By the way, the problem right now with the electric rates. USB lighting makes sense. That's one thing I didn't talk about. What's the advantage of USB lighting for my applications? Elementary, my dear Watson. The fact is it only runs on 5 volts and no more than 5 watts. In order to be powerful for most USB power banks, means that you can get a lot of lumens per watt. Okay? For Christmas lights, that's fine. You don't need tons of watts and lots of energy for running Christmas lights. And there's certainly an improvement over the tiny little LEDs, midget LED lights that look like, unless it has a proper power filter on them, flicker like crazy. Nobody wants that. Not me, not you, no one else for that matter. The 3 volts per string, you're talking about 50 string lights, 150 volts. Okay? Maybe it's a little lower than that, but not by much. Okay? So when you plug in your mains power cord, you got this 50 lights of LED green string that flicker lighting off like a monster from the disco tech from hell. But the truth of the matter is, you can fix that with a filter regulator, which is something that's consisting of, as Electro Boom would say, full-wave rectifier. Full-wave rectifier, and then top of that, maybe a 2200 microfarad capacitor to take that mains power and filter it and get it down to about 170 volts DC. 170 volts DC at peak. Okay? Because it's the way our power system is. You can calculate this yourself. Take a typical 120 volts and multiply it by a factor of 1.41, You'll see it's about 170 volts peak to peak. Okay, instead of being average of about 120. A typical electrical meter measures voltage RMS usually, or sometimes they measure them peak. So if you see an electric meter that measures 2 RMS and you plug it into your main socket, you're going to see it says 121, 22 volts. If you plug some El Cheapo meters in that just use rectifying bridge, and it's going to probably see a voltage of 140 or something like that. Now maybe the meter itself may actually realize that it may actually bring down, be using a voltage dropping resistor down to the 120, but that's not true RMS. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you with it. Just accept it is as it is. Okay, it's just keep it simple for the average person. So, because the way these LED lights work, they're diodes, okay? So it makes sense, right? So every single one of them has a voltage drop across the anode, okay? And cathode, okay? And for LEDs, it's like 3 volts, so, or 2.5, 3 volts, depending on the type of LED. So you're talking not about a lot of current, because they're more for light, not for rectification. But they are diodes, and they will rectify power. So yeah, you could theoretically use them as a diode for rectification for a power circuit. That's kind of weird, but for some things, that'd be more than fine. No, rectification is the art of making power. In fact, let's talk about another thing too while we're at it. Why is the United States, when they keep pushing all these LED stuff, all these new energy saving measures, which certainly makes sense, like at the same time they keep shutting down power plants left and right? The fact of the matter is, it's not because we don't have a shortage of fuel. We certainly don't. At least not coal. Coal is one resource America has plenty of. The problem is the Green New Deal realizes that, coal is bad. It's sulfur and soft coal. And there's only so many veins of anthracite coal available. And it's polluting to get it to the power plants by train car, and that uses diesel and all this crap. Let's look this way. The sun doesn't always shine. First of all, it's getting to be evening, so the sun's going down, okay? The wind doesn't always blow strong enough to make electricity. Both the sun and the electric generating facilities only can produce power basically at need. So if there's a shortage of power, in other words, if there's more power being generated than they can use, it's going to be wasted. So what happens with wind turbines is they shut down unnecessary needed turbines to, because otherwise if there's generating too much, the price goes down too much. So utility companies are like trying to find a balance. How much wind can I generate power from? How much sun can I generate power from? And still make a decent profit? There's nothing wrong with profit. It's just the fact is that sometimes they get a little bit too profit crazy, you know? Yeah, that's the problem with the power industry is they, in one sense, they're saying we're not getting enough demand because people are using LEDs and high-efficiency light sources. But at the same time, in their true antebellum world, they would be generating more power and tons of it and charging top dollar for it because there'd be enough demand to make needs. The only one that's really using a lot of power right now is industry. And even they're actually trying to watch their profits too. So therefore, nobody really gets ahead. Okay? the best practical thing you can do is be self-generating. Well, let's keep one thing in mind. If you live in an apartment, you're not going to be generating power by having huge solar panels sitting on your roof. Not because, number one, depending on your apartment law in your state, that may not actually be an option because you don't have access to your roof. Your landlord does. And depending how proactive he is, he might feel fine. But I want to put solar panels on the roof for all my power needs. And then I'll sell the excess back to the electric grid. And you then buy from the electric grid to run your lights. Or maybe he's a little more smart. He says, I'm going to put electric meters in all your apartments and I'm going to sell you the electricity directly from my solar panels. That's not a bad idea, actually. Someone let's actually do that. Skip the middleman, skip the electric company, and just go straight from his solar panels, his power system to your outlet. Fantastic. But the reality kicks in, which is, what if I don't generate enough power and all of a sudden you guys are punched in the dark? Could be a problem in some cases, right? After all, your electric company can only generate so much. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. It's a crazy world out there, guys. So what I'm going to try to do today is I'm going to try to get that music program uploaded that I was working on last night on Kick. So you guys on YouTube can hear it. Now, depending on how it works out, or the copyrights, I might actually demonetize it anyway. I'll tell you 2 reasons why, even if I can't. Number one, the first reason is advertising. Where are you going to stick it? Right on top of my songs? Right on top of me talking? Where are you going to put it? Gee, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Stick unskippable ads on top right in the middle of a song. It would be kind of suck. So maybe we'll just go ahead, just upload it and just as a freebie and just keep it so you can hear it. Let's see what we can do. Alright guys, that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching this very unique vlog. It is a vlog. And I will see you later. Bye bye for now.